following episode contains scenes which may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
And there's
I was like, title?
hello, everybody, and welcome to the Mack Flash Five, the show where we like to get together and talk about our top 5 lists of a certain movie topic. My name's Matt. With me is Mike, AB, Scott, and I want to welcome everyone to our first clip show.
Hey!
That's right. We're going to flash back to all of our best and brightest scenes. No,
honorable
it's not that kind of
mentions.
clip show.
Honorable mentions.
Our top 10 honorable mentions. That'll be coming up one day.
Yeah.
No, but for this episode, we're going to show video clips of the movies we're talking about. This is going to be a little new feature for us, and we'll probably continue for certain lists in the future for sure. But this will be our first one, our test run. We hope it goes very well, and it's under a very specific topic of our top 5 movie kills. This is like part 1 of our gruesome twosome, because next week will be Halloween movies we like to watch as well.
Spooky.
That's right. And before we start, I'll tell you how the show works. After we set a topic, we go our separate ways. Recently, we've been doing a thing where we talk about our top 3 in depth and then have 2 honorable mentions. Today, we're going to do all 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No honorable mentions. We didn't even discuss that. We're not even going to mention honorable mentions.
Nope.
Top 5 movie kills.
Yep.
And we put this one together because it's the Halloween season. Mike is going to kick us off with his number 5 and tell us why he likes death in movies so much.
Tell us why he's maladjusted. Okay. Yeah, no. Well, you kind of alluded to, we chose this topic, of course, sort of to lead into Halloween. Right. And we actually had an idea of death scenes, like, sort of powerful death scenes in movies. And then we thought we'd switch it up to kills, because that sort of fits with the Halloween season. But what I want to say is we don't want people to be, who aren't fans of just like horror, to be afraid of this episode, because they're not going to necessarily, and in many cases, they won't be horror movies.
I have 0 horror.
Right. So yeah. So like you'll see horror. Some on there. No, I'm gonna guess right now in the comments. You should place your bets on who's got what kind of movies. But so you'll have a good variety in there of films that are horror and not. But it's more just like the idea of, is the scene memorable, or what happened in it? Was it shocking to you, or what? And we'll speak to that. So without any further ado, I thought first clip show, let's jump right into it. So here we go. Clip number 1. Enjoy.
Is this Paul Rudd? Is that Paul Rudd going on here?
This might as well be a Rick roll.
Okay, that was just a little bit of a joke there. So let me pull up my real clip. That was for all you Paul Rudd. That was for all you.
I was like, he didn't actually die.
Mike was able to sneak in one of his honorable mentions.
He doesn't.
No, that was just a Paul Rudd Conan throwback there. Okay. So let me get my.
It's one of your favorite movies, too.
It is.
Yeah, when I said, I wasn't surprised when it came up. I was like, Mac and Me? This guy loves Mac and Me.
One of his favorite movies. Go ahead, Scott.
Yep. Oh, I don't understand that joke, but didn't you tell me about? You just told me the AB. I feel like told me about something.
Yeah, Paul Rudd.
Conan and Paul
every time he goes on Conan, plays that clip. So they're like, "Let's show a clip from your new movie," and literally every time it's that clip.
Now it's not Paul Rudd. Obviously not.
No.
No.
Okay.
So that was-
No. That's like the cheesy like knockoff ET movie from the 80s.
Yeah, of course.
which I think is
Produced
better.
by McDonald's or
Which
something.
has to be better. He's the most
No, it's
overrated
interesting
film.
because
Oh, all right.
as much as Mike loves this movie, it may never appear on a list, so he just got to sneak that in.
I'm just over here laughing because I had thought, okay, first clip show, I got to pull the Paul Rudd gag. Okay, here we go. My number 5, definitely not a horror film. Although this scene is probably one of the most gruesome on my list, so heed that warning at the beginning to turn away.
oh yeah,
if,
nice.
Yeah, if you can't handle a little bit of blood in action.
Great sound.
Oh, it's a nice pen. I just didn't know what it was. I thought it was yours. I didn't want it to get lost. Well, thank you. Why don't you take that fucking pen and shove it up your ass? Fucking jag off.
Some language.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
That's the guy from Home Alone, kids.
It tracks that he would be the same. They'd be like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
What's that? You hear a little girl, Frankie? You hear a little girl, Ace? Is that a little fucking girl? What happened to the fucking tough guy? Told my friend stick it up his fucking ass. Huh?
All right. That's enough of that.
Now,
Yep.
point of order.
What's the movie?
No, I hear the guy's still alive.
Yeah. He's not actually dead.
Fair enough.
Fair
enough. It's a fair point.
Technically, wait till we get to my list. That comes up.
It's a fair point, but he is, I will assure you, dead eventually.
Yeah.
I just
we all?
well, that's very true. I just cut that clip, and as he kicks him some more, and they do more to him. But the reason I chose that clip, since the clip was so long, I'll be very brief. And I showed about 7 other clips, so I chose that one because when I think of a kill in a movie and like just the kill defining the character, that is so Nicky from Casino and just like flying off the handle. So whereas, Ace was the cool headed, the money man, he brought in the money.
He also hands them the pen too. Ace hands Nicky the pen.
He takes it from the hand.
He kind of takes it from him. Like
Yeah.
Ace was just giving him the pen, and he was being very calm and cool, like he is. And then Nicky just jumps in, and he's like, "What did you say to my friend?"
Yeah,
and then
Really, that's good. I'm glad you picked that. That's
so
awesome.
that just to me defines that particular character and their sort of juxtaposition between the two of them. So that's how I start off with Home Alone star Joe Pesci. So there you go.
And I just recently watched a YouTube video channel it's called History Buffs. The guy breaks down what really happened in certain movies. We've yet to say the movie is Casino.
I think I did say it. Yep.
And he talked about the actual Nicky from
Sure.
the the actual mafia in mob in Vegas, and thought that Pesci's portrayal was really exact on. I mean, Pesci in Goodfellas, the character he plays there is like a 6'2", almost football player looking kind of a guy, but the Nicky from Casino is 5'2", very stocky. He looks exactly like Joe Pesci does, and had a real like Napoleon type complex. He really oversold. Yeah. He felt insecure, so had to oversell the violence he put upon people.
Yeah. Fantastic. All right, so I'm sure Andrew now has Goodfellas, right?
Clearly. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to start off mine. I wanted to include a gratuitous action death from my number one guy. My number one guy, I recently read that, actually right before this, I read that he has over 1,200 on-screen kills under his belt. In this particular movie, 1,200 movie kills.
Wow.
And in this particular one is his most kills. He has 81 kills in this movie alone. And of course, I'm talking about 1985 Commando. With my man.
I'm so excited. I thought maybe. Oh.
Between the balls.
You Bennett. Phenomenal. This is the best list ever.
And that's Freddie Mercury, isn't it? Is that Freddie
No, that's
Jack
Vernon Wells. That's Vernon Wells. Baseball star Vernon Wells.
That is. I realized.
Steam Bennett.
Yeah.
What did you
Okay.
say? What did you
Let
say?
off some steam, Bennett.
So that
The best.
was the scene from Clue, right? It was Arnold in the basement with the lead pipe.
That's right.
So good.
And that whole scene leading up to it, I just wanted to play just the death scene, but that whole scene leads up to it defies logic. He throws him into an electric fence, like Arnold throws Vernon Wells into an electric fence, and he gets electrocuted, and then literally jumps off the electric fence to punch him in the face, and it oh, okay. Apparently, he gets power from electricity and getting electrified.
Got a thunder, baby.
And so then, literally, okay, Vernon Wells in there is like one of my all-time. Bennett is one of my all-time favorite villains because he's so ridiculous. He's got the sleeveless chainmail vest, leather pants, and so Arnold, first of all, takes that the pipe off the wall, and throws it with enough velocity to go through a chainmail vest all the way through him into the thing behind him. So it clearly went all the way through him into the steam thing behind him in order to steam to come out. I'm like, that is insane, and I love it. I love it. I wouldn't want it any other way. So I think that all encompasses Arnold's one of Arnold's 1,200 kills, and I think it's one of the best ones he has.
This is a great list. I'm so happy. Oh.
And that encompasses it. And I'm like
1,200. I'm trying to think. So he must have just they count all mass bodies at once that he's
probably
killing too. Yeah,
probably. But if you think.
What was Weird Al's kill count in UHF?
When he's doing the Rambo bit?
Or it was Hot Shots Part 2 where they kept count.
Yeah.
It reached a certain number. It's like more bodies than RoboCop. More bodies than such and such. Bloodiest movie ever.
Oh, why didn't you use that? Is that one of your clips?
I mean, no, I'm sneaking in my honorable mentions too with that one.
Mac and me. What do you got, Scott?
Okay, these are great. I was just worried you guys were gonna have silly horror ones or anything. These are really good.
Don't worry, I got silly horror.
But I'm really happy with how they started. So, because I go for story-driven stuff. All 5 of mine are gonna be very, very story-driven. And my number 5, if you want to cue it up, I'm gonna talk over, is from 2004's Michael Mann directed Collateral. Nice. And it is the jazz club scene with Barry Henley, famous that guy, Barry Henley, and Tom Cruise. And Tom Cruise takes Jamie Foxx as a night. He's a hitman, holds Jamie Foxx at gunpoint to take him to 5 stops because he has to do 5 hits. And there's so much in this movie between the nightclub scene with Javier Bardem is great. But the one reason why I picked this scene and immediately comes to me is the rewatchability of a scene like this. There is so much nuance. Right there's one shot. So much nuance in this scene where when they go to the jazz club to get a drink, Tom Cruise is like, let's go talk to the jazz man, the owner of the bar. And as he's doing it, I've rewatched the scene 100 times. He's looking around and he's listening intently. He's like, that's a great story. That's fantastic. And as you do, you see, this is before, I cut out because it's a quite longer scene. You see him adjust his coat. And in doing that you notice so much later is that he's taking out the gun and then he's putting the silencer on it. So here he kind of gives up his cover and he's like, that's a great story. I got to tell the people in Cartagena that story. So you don't get the backstory of what's going on, but he gives this man an opportunity to get out. Oh, and he catches the head before it falls too. So he gives him a chance to get out of it and asks him a question about Miles Davis, to which he gets the answer correct, but due to a loophole, Tom Cruise's Vincent kills him anyway, and then tells him the answer as to why his answer was not correct. The reason why I picked this scene, again, just the aesthetics, eminently rewatchable, how it fits into the whole story of it. Tom Cruise is so effing cool in this film. He's the epitome of badassery and coolness. I'm obsessed with it. And with that too, it just shows that a character like Vincent is always one step ahead. He always has ulterior motives. He's always well thought out, well planned out, even in the scene where you think you're letting off the gas. And it's like, oh, it's him and Jamie are letting off some steam because it's been hard so far. He takes him to the exact place where he knows he can get one of his hits. He is 5 steps ahead of everyone in it. So for my number 5, maybe not as cool a kill scene, but for a rewatchable scene, if I find I have about 4 or 5 minutes to rewatch, I will put that scene on YouTube and watch it. So I had to give it some love at my number 5.
I felt like I was watching a DVD commentary there.
That
was pretty good.
It's fun. I like it. I can get used to this.
I might turn the volume down on a clip or two of mine, and
I'll just narrate yours.
Yeah,
like,
okay.
Kid in a wheelchair. There's a little guy. I don't really know. Apparently it's Paul Rudd. Maybe he's mocap. I don't really know. But yes, so that kill, I wasn't quite sure. I wanted to give it a little love because I feel it's a quiet scene that no one talks about. No one really remembers that movie. But like I said, the nuance in it, catching the head before it falls, looking around, getting the gun. It was just a perfectly executed Hitman scene. And what's cooler in movies than Hitman?
I watched the clip there because you sent it to me, and I had to find the right time frame to load it up and show it. And so in watching it for the first time, I've never seen Collateral. So it's the first time I've seen this scene, and watching it, it brought me to a completely different aspect. Now, Tom Cruise is offering the guy his life to get away scot-free if he answers a trivia question correctly. Now, all of us know the pressure there is to answering a trivia question. And Tom Cruise shoots him because he gets it wrong out of a technicality. I think maybe he gets a year wrong.
Imagine if we played movie trivia like that.
Yes.
Get wrong. Shot in the head.
To the death.
Yeah.
So when I watched that popped out to me. I was like, wow, this is why Scott picked it, because it's trivia or death.
As it should be.
So Francois, when you're watching this, it's your new thing. It's your new thing. Trivia or death. Trivia or die.
Right.
Deer Hunter trivia.
The quiz later today will have much higher stakes than normal.
Awesome.
Okay, moving on to me. Originally, we were just going to do top 3 and then have honorable mentions.
Yeah.
In our discussion, we decided we were going to do all 5. Well, that changed what my honorable mentions were going to be because they're not honorable. Now it's a number 5. And I was talking to Scott in our chat. He gave me his list, and I said, "Oh, you're missing something." And he's like, "No, that wouldn't be on my list. That'd be number 6 for me." Well, I was like, "Well, get ready because I'm putting it on here."
Good.
All right.
My number 5 is the death of Apollo Creed in Rocky IV.
Forever RP. I've just always talked about it. I wanted to diversify my portfolio.
Right. Well, and Scott and I were having a little chat discussion, and he said, well, it's not on my list. Why? Why wasn't it be on your list, Scott?
Well, because I was originally coming in the mindset of this being movie murders. People who were murdered at the hands of someone. And Apollo knew the risks as he got in, accidental death. And there's so much between
Yeah. So Apollo...
So he accepts it.
Right. And I think in doing so, he sees Drago coming off the plane in the news. He goes to Rocky and says, I'm going to fight this guy. Rocky's like, what do you have got to prove? He's like, I've got something to prove. If we're not famous, what are we? Kind of a deal. And you can hear throughout this fight, Apollo saying to Rocky, do not stop this fight. Don't stop this fight. This is a suicide. Apollo is committing suicide in this scene because he feels like if he can't be a boxer, he can't be anything at all. What's the point in living?
Oh, that mustache.
Yeah. The mustache.
Top 5 mustaches.
So when Scott said it's an accidental death, I said, that's not my take on it. This is Apollo killing himself on purpose. Don't stop this fight.
Sure.
You're going to have to carry me out because I belong in the ring.
So for the
It's
record,
unbelievable.
I thought
we were when we were originally gonna do movie deaths, it was high on my list. You don't have to sing to me the praises of this. This is incredible.
Right.
I can't wait to watch this too. Stallone's coming out with a director's cut of this film, like
if he dies,
35 years later.
Iconic.
Yeah, I just can't wait to see. So yeah.
So that's
great.
my
I'm
number
so glad you
5.
put
The
that.
Suicide of Apollo Creed.
Yeah.
I was just saying, now I don't need to watch that film. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Oh, you do.
That's the first 20 minutes in.
Oh,
Of
it
all
is?
the Rocky
Yeah.
movies,
Oh yeah.
that scene
That is
and
the
then
best one.
would probably make one other list because it's not my favorite Rocky movie, but it does have one aspect to it that we'll probably discuss in a future episode.
Yeah,
Cool.
It is definitely the best one for me. Like I don't
Alright.
like any of them, but that one is.
That's what
definitely
a
the
lot
best.
of people say. I mean, I listen to a lot of Rocky podcasts, and people who don't like Rocky Rocky 4. They like that's the most universal loved one.
Well, because it's got a lot. It's got a
Yeah.
lot going on,
And
that you don't
it's like
need any of the Rocky
90
stuff.
minutes long. It's so brisk.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. Awesome.
Okay, moving on. Number
Number
4,
four.
Mike.
All right. So when I heard, we were going to do the top 5, it allowed me to get a clip on that I wouldn't have put on here.
Oh boy.
And,
I'm
no.
excited.
And when I think of, we're going to jump back in time here to 1984, and when I think of old horror movies, I think of getting, what are celebrities now in fantastic death scenes, and you think of like you got Jennifer Aniston shows up in Leprechaun, you got Kevin Bacon in Friday the 13th, and then you've got this gentleman.
Yeah. I knew that. I
Yeah,
knew that's
cool.
where you're
It's
going.
pretty sick.
On Elm
I
Street.
know where you're
So I'm going to
going.
take a page out of Scott's and just not worry too much about the volume here because it's a lot of just screaming anyways.
Yeah.
And this isn't necessarily, well, I suppose it is kind of bloody.
Tell us who it is.
It's Johnny Depp. Yeah, I said. But
You
I
said
mean,
it.
I think you should be able to tell.
Yeah, I know.
So-
I didn't know you said Johnny Depp.
Yeah, and I guess it is quite bloody, but it's not actually the most gruesome kill. And if you were to pick, Nightmare on Elm Street movies, you could pick. There's obviously dozens of deaths you can pick. But for me, I just love the cool effect of his sleeping and he just gets
This
sucked
is
into the bed.
incredible.
That's really good, man.
Yeah, that is so
if
good.
If you watch the documentary Never Sleep Again, it talks all about the effect of how they did this here.
Yeah.
As well as they used the same rigging that they used. Oh, great. Fantastic. Oh, sorry. I'm just watching it now. They use the same rigging that they use in, I think it's Tina. Is it Tina's death in earlier on in the film? I think it is.
Yeah,
where
it's good.
she's up the ceiling or whatever.
Yep.
But anyways, they use the riggings a couple times, and it's sort of similar to kind of like Inception, where they have all of the crew members around a box that they like rotate and they move around. And they were talking a little bit about that and sort of the behind the scenes and how they made a mistake where the blood, it's actually pouring down, right? And there's the light there, the blood gets into the electrical and actually the water starts electrifying and it starts electrocuting the crew as they're doing that scene.
Oh wow.
And you can see how the liquid starts going to one side because the thing starts tipping. And so there's a lot of good behind the scenes on the documentary about that. So I like that. I like that scene just sort of for that kind of stuff, the behind the scenes thing. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's just the coolest subtle kill because like he's not getting all slashed up; he just disappears. Now there is a sort of a, if you want to call it an outtake, but an extended scene. If you see the extended scene of that, where Johnny Depp actually sort of slowly pops up out of the hole and then just sort of flops down on the bed like a corpse. So if you look for that, you can find that too on YouTube. But I think this is more powerful.
This is way better, and I love all the other stuff that goes in too, like the TV and everything goes into the bed.
You just see the claws. You just see the glove, and then
that's all you need.
That's how I picture my death is going to be. I'm going to be sucked into something and holding for dear life onto the TV. This is coming with me.
It's coming. Yeah, I need this. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot you go and you can argue all the different deaths in those movies, but that one is just always one of my favorite ones. So there you go. Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984, Wes Craven, baby.
So that is. Oh, sorry. Go. You're gonna say something.
No, I was gonna say, and that's so great. As not a horror fan, but you look at like some of the effect of some of the greatest deaths, and I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but how people are so afraid of Jaws they don't go back in the water, right? But you look at something like that. Think of all the teen kids who had seen that movie and they're in bed and they're like, "Well, shit." He's already gonna get me. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're such in a vulnerable
that's the thing
spot.
with, like,
there's no more vulnerable place in your own bed.
Sleep. Yeah.
That's one. Yeah, it's one of the great things about Nightmare is
Yeah,
that
of course.
everyone has to sleep. Everyone, no matter who you are, everyone has to sleep at some point.
And
you can't
I
stay
guess,
awake.
and I guess they do it in that movie. But for me, it wasn't really until Inception that taught me I have control over my dreams.
Yeah.
And so when a nightmare starts, well, you just kill whatever's chasing you.
You start fist fighting whoever.
Yeah. you flip the city so it squashes them.
Yeah, so it kind of
doesn't work
alludes
so
to
well. It
that.
doesn't work so well in Nightmare
No, but
franchise.
she kind of
You can
Yeah.
fight back,
power.
but yeah.
He's 10 Doms. So when you're doing
Yeah.
it, he's Dom and Juno mixed, Ellen Page mixed in one.
There you go.
Oh,
What you got,
AB.
Andrew?
All right, my number 4 is, so it's perfect that you did that one because I'm going to go to a different franchise. This is my one of my horror contributions, and this is my favorite slasher death of all time, and it is from Friday the 13th franchise, and it is from Friday Part 7, The New Blood.
It's my first time ever seeing this, so let me check it out.
Like a banana.
Oh,
So yeah, he just slaps her against the tree, and she gone. They kind of redo that again in Jason X. They have him in this illusion thing, and he kind of reprises it. And he actually takes. There's 3 girls in sleeping bags, and he takes one of them and beats the other 2 up. So, but it's kind of a rehash of this. I was like, that's kind of cheeseball.
It's like
But
one of
this-
those steel ball things where it's
yeah. So that was like thing. But this one, when it came out, like I trash on the later Friday the 13th movies because I don't love them. But it's stuff like this that makes me definitely love it. That they have the inventive kills like this where he beats her to death in a sleeping bag, and you're like, not even that, just one slap against the tree. It's pretty ridiculous, but I love it.
Now, when you said Friday the 13th, I thought for sure you'd go out the iconic Kevin Bacon
Through with the thing. I was thinking about that one, and that one is iconic, and I love the way they did it, the Savini, the way they did it. But this one, it's for the pure ridiculous and like nonsense. It gets me every time. I love it. So
it's really.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Keep going.
No.
It's really funny that the 2 you pick would probably not kill a person. Like if you did that to someone,
Well,
they
it's
would
Jason.
be.
Yeah,
they
but
would.
yeah,
It's him. But like if you did that, they would be like, "Ow, that." Like the first, like Bennett would stop and he'd be like, "What was that?"
Yeah, true.
And that one, you would hit someone and they would be in like say a blanket. They'd be like, "What the." I'm not like it wouldn't kill them immediately.
I will say that in a couple of films before this one, he gets in literally a boxing match on the rooftop with a guy with a professional like boxing kid, and punches his entire head off. He just punches him in the face, and his entire head.
It's in Friday the 13th.
That's in Friday the 13th. Jason Takes Manhattan.
Sure,
he's
cool.
he's boxing with a guy on the thing, and the boxing guy's literally like taking him
They're
on,
legit rock'em sock'em robots.
Yeah, and then he just boom and like punches his entire head off.
You knocked his block off.
yeah, literally.
Hilarious.
But anyway, yeah, Friday the 13th, number 4. Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood.
At 4
is your number 4.
Yes.
In your top 5 list.
Yes. Numbers. Scott,
okay, it's funny. Let's keep it going. This is about as horror as I could possibly get.
Right. We like horror around here. Well, we do.
Wait, I know.
Oh,
and anyone who knows me.
Yeah, I knew it. You
knew exactly this had to make my list. So you want to talk about, oh my God. You want to talk about an iconic death, murder in a film. It's Patrick Bateman killing Paul Allen in 2000's American Psycho. And in this, it is such a far out zany scene where he brings a professional rival back to his place. Iconic costume with the raincoat, the axe. You'll see right here. There's so much of the movie, and this is what ties in to if he actually did it, because we've talked about the film, if it's in his mind, if he's having delusional fantasies, if he's just some bored white-collared yuppie, or if these are actually happen. I prefer to view the movie that he is a bored yuppie, because as the movie goes on, they get more and more ridiculous with the axe in the middle of the hallway. There's no way he'd get away with that. So you see this, and the whole thing's about mistaken identity. But what I really love about this is as he's doing it, he's talking about his love of Huey Lewis and the News.
Yeah.
And the song is Hip to Be Square. And he's basically just informing, kind of like something he's passionate about while he's doing it, giving him little tidbits about it, why no one listens to the lyrics. personal statement on the band itself. Hey, Paul. And then as the movie leads up, you get like, again, it goes into the more horror elements where he gets covered in blood as he's doing this, as he's axing away at his body. And then ultimately he just sits down and takes out a cigar and smokes. And I don't know, it's just everything about it. If you're looking for like a more iconic style, this is my kind of yuppieism, white-collared horror that I could. But like I said, Patrick Bateman's my kind of guy.
That's a Funko Pop.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah.
It's in the other room.
Right there. Could have got it, but yeah. So my number 4. That's probably the last more fun that I have. My 3, 2, 1. I probably are a little more story driven, but like I said, when you're talking movie murders, there's no better, more fun movie murder to me than Patrick Bateman on Paul Allen. And if you look at it in context, Batman finally kills the Joker.
Yeah.
Hey,
Notice
there you
that.
go.
Batman kills a Joker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in because clear violent, but you don't see the body getting hacked up. It reminds me of that chainsaw scene in Scarface, where you see the chainsaw, you hear it nice and loud, you see blood spray, but you don't see the chainsaw rip into anybody.
Well, to be fair, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre is literally that. You like people think that they saw people getting chainsawed. No one, you don't actually see anyone getting chainsawed. You see this, and you see like you think, and then like there's
theater of the mind always wins, man.
Yeah,
yes.
I listen to a lot
of
podcasts, and like it's just crazy how like a lot of these movie podcasts get lauded for their decisions to scale it back and less is more and practical effects and this and like imagination. It's just like you have to beat that in directors' heads because the ones that do it are like rewarded.
Yeah.
And then again, like they go more and more and people hate it. But again, it's like you said, once you have the theater of the mind for it, it's more scary, or you have your own thoughts and you can make what you want. And it's always the better decision. It's always the right
gaps
call.
for yourself. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Cool. What do you got?
It's always creepier, and a lot of times when you see it too in depth, it becomes more comical and silly, right? When you see like gruesome things on, you're like, but when the music is played properly, and you know, I'll take that every time.
Speaking of music being played, this clip is interesting because it's got a lack of music in it. Now it's a scene that was going to be on this episode. Really, no matter what, it was really just a matter of which one of us was going to be putting it on here. And I am, of course, talking about the death of Quint in Jaws.
Yes,
Oh, you're so excited. So we're at the end of the movie. The shark defies physics and jumps onto a boat. Now, I think the original ending was going to be Quint gets tied up in the ropes and the shark pulls him under and Quint drowns. But then I think either John Milius or Carl Gottlieb, one of the screenwriters or screen doctors, said, no, we have to be fighting this monster. This is Ahab and the whale. If he's going to go down, he has to go down fighting. And like I said,
I thought the audio wasn't on there. I was like, oh.
Like I said a minute ago, there's no music. And this movie won John Williams an Oscar for Best Original Score. The Jaws theme is iconic to the point where I'm just going to end to the point where I was traveling with my girlfriend and her nieces, and they're young kids and should at no point have seen this movie at any point in their lives. But they were back there going dun 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 dun, and one of the other girls said, and they were making references to shark attacks. They know that music represents shark attacks. Mm-hmm. They've never seen this movie. Anyways, number 4, Death of Quint. Jaws takes him down. Jaws.
Also a Funko Pop. Are we doing top 5? Are we doing top 5?
No, I was going. That was on my list, and then I'm like, no, that is 100% going to be on Matt's list. So I was like, no, I'm going to leave that to him. Yeah, it's amazing, and like I for the most part, couldn't at the beginning there. I couldn't hear more of the audio until he chomped down on him. But that the audio of that where he's screaming, and even before that where he's like hyperventilating as he's sliding down. That freaks me out. Like he, like like
he knows it's
freaking
coming.
out.
He can't do anything.
Well, that too, and like they do a great. He does a great job. Like the movie does a great job of building up his character. Right, you have obviously the Indianapolis scene, and so he knows what shark attacks are. He's seen like literally hundreds of them live in person, so he knows what's about to be involved in that. So like you see this person who up until this point has shown zero fear, right? He's like the man's man, you know, of the movie, and like always talking down to Hooper and all that stuff. He's like the battle axe, and then all of a sudden like he knows what's coming, so you see him scared as hell, and he should be, obviously. But like it's a great setup for him.
Solid. Yeah, for sure. Well, let's go from a serious moment.
All right, we'll have some more fun.
I always knew that the top 3 of my kills would be on the comical side. At least I find them comical. I don't know about everybody else. I'm not going to worry too much about the dialogue. There is some dialogue here, but we all know it. Let's just get to it here. This is my favorite cameo.
Great.
Oh,
That's good.
taking a second. Yeah.
Of all time.
Oh my gosh.
And, just
Really, really good.
the sheer concept of I'm gonna play. Oh my gosh. Okay. The idea of I'm Bill Murray.
Is that how you say hello?
And I'm gonna pretend I'm a zombie in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. When
Yeah, we're golfing yesterday. Played 18 holes. Literally walked on. That's great.
it hurts a little.
Never was very good at pranks.
Yeah. Oh, my favorite line though comes up later. Any regrets?
Maybe Garfield.
Garfield.
Coming up.
If it means anything now, I am so sorry.
Oh my gosh. Anyways,
It's my bad.
it's my bad.
I was never
Okay,
very
we don't need to keep listening to
Yeah.
this.
That's a really good one.
I want
That's
you.
good.
I know. But no.
Hilarious.
I
Yeah,
had to
great.
put this on here. I'm just gonna unshare here. I had to put this on here because Zombieland, it's a good film for what it is. It's a solid film. I love zombie movies. It puts a good humorous edge. That and Shaun of the Dead do a good job joking around. But it's just like a scene that comes out of nowhere. Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I remember watching this in the theater. I'm sitting in the theater and I'm already enjoying myself. And then all of a sudden, right, they're in his house. All of a sudden, he comes out. And then I'm like, this is hilarious enough. This is amazing. He's playing himself. And then he comes out and is, like I said, he's going to pretend. Like, what are you thinking? Like, Andrew and I have had talked about zombie plans. We've talked about these. This is the stupidest possible thing you can do when someone has a shotgun is pretend that you're a zombie like it's going to be a great practical joke. And none of them stop them from doing it. And that they stick with it just kills me. And I could watch this and laugh every time. So this makes top kill, even though it's, I guess, sort of an accidental kill, I guess. I don't know if that...
So counts as a kill. Kills a kill.
Yeah. So this is my number 3. And there's not much else to be said about this. But 2009 Zombieland.
Now, nobody thinks that's a bad idea. Like Woody doesn't say,
Yeah.
this doesn't seem like a good idea. The kid has a gun.
Yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
Well, the part you couldn't hear there, I mean, I know you guys know it, but the part you couldn't hear there when they're walking in the hallway was him going, okay, what's his name again? And he's like getting the wig on. Like they're preparing him.
That's amazing.
Great.
Forgot about it. That's never been 10 years, but that's hilarious.
Right? This is a guy who has like a list of the strategies of what you got to do during a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
And you're going to prank him? Like, anyways. What you got, Andrew?
All right. So my 3, 2, 1 are all. I want to have a little fun with my 5 and 4 with some goofy stuff. My top 3 now are going to be some very iconic deaths. They're very renowned deaths. This is one of the most renowned deaths in all of horror movies. When you think about this certain subject, it is kind of become synonymous with it. This movie's from 1981. It's directed by David Cronenberg, and of course, I'm talking about Scanners.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you got my
First
man
time
Mike.
I've seen this clip.
You got my man Michael Ironside here. And so right now, this guy is a scanner, and he brings them on a stage to present scanners. And so Michael Ironside is pretending to be a normal person and to do this exhibit. And so what this other guy doesn't know is that Michael Ironside is a super powerful scanner. And here we go.
He's blocking.
He's blocking them and then turning it back.
Right.
Oh shit. I knew it was gonna happen.
Got into it too much.
Unshare.
I did.
Like that.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Like that.
So that is, like I said, that's from 1981. It was all practical effects. It was Dick Smith who did the special effects, did the special effects for the Exorcist, did all the Exorcist special effects. So he did the special effects too. So you're talking about a movie from 1981, which is nearly what 40 was. How
It's
39
old,
years
sure.
old, almost 40 years old.
Yeah,
You're talking about almost 40 years
Checks
old.
out.
It still hasn't really been replicated. You have all your CG and you have all your special effects now with people getting shot. Nothing has topped that for me.
It looks
in
just as good as
40
The
years.
Boys season 2.
100%. Like it
Yeah, it
looks
does.
incredible. Like and so what I researched some stuff into what went on, how they actually did it, and they took like old rotting hamburger and pieces of leather and like a whole bunch of like just stuff that they could find around and put it with the dummy, and then they literally went underneath of it with an actual shotgun and shot the dummy's head with an actual shotgun to do that. And I was like, that is never going to happen ever again. They're never going to be able to fire an actual shotgun live on set to blow up a dummy. And like, so like, we're never going to have anything like that crazy again. But like that, it's just an insane that they like went through this whole thing and like made this dummy with like hamburger meat and all this stuff. But like it still holds up. And I remember as a little kid with the VHS, I don't remember how old I was when I watched this, probably 10 or 11, maybe 12. But I remember having the VHS and literally rewinding that scene over and
great.
over and over and be like, how did that? How did they do that? I'm like, how did they do that? It literally made that dude's head explode, and it just boggled my mind. And even now, 40 years later, I'm still like, what the heck? It's so crazy.
Well, we talked about this many times, right? Your Rick Bakers and your Savinis and your Nicoteros and all these guys. What they can do with special effects and things is just gonna beat CGI for me every single time, because it looks real, because it is real.
It is real. Yeah,
it's like tangible. You can touch it, and if it's done in the right hands, you watch a movie from the 80s, like you said, or even the 70s, and you look at those scenes and you still cringe, and you go, even though you know it's hamburger meat or you know it's old intestines. Like Savini, they used to use old rotting animal organs and things.
Yeah.
And the crew and the actors would be they'd be ill because how smelly it is, and it looks real because it is, and it grosses you out because it should. So that's awesome.
To continue on that same topic, two movies that I like very much because of the tactile, practical special effects of them are getting remade and will clearly be using CG for the puppetry and stuff. The Witches is getting a remake. It's a remake.
But that's somebody who's good is making that, though.
Yeah, Robert Zemeckis is making it.
Yeah,
who's very good at special effect type movies, but again, will be used depending on computers, I'm sure, for like the transformation scene.
Yeah, it won't be the Creature Shop.
Yeah.
The second is, I heard Little Shop of Horrors is getting remade.
Oh.
Yeah,
with an excellent cast.
Yeah,
but
right,
again, if Audrey 2 is not a giant puppet, like it is in the
CG.
movies
It's definitely
and on
CG.
theater and on stage, I'm going to be very upset.
You know it's going to be CG.
But that movie is going to star Terrell Edgerton,
Taron
Beth
Egerton,
Seymour,
Scarlett Johansson.
ScarJo is going to be Audrey, and then Chris Evans is going to be the dentist. It's an amazing cast. I'm going to see that. It sounds terrific,
I'll probably
but
watch
there
it.
will be a high standard.
Yeah, for sure. All right, what do we got next, Scott?
So my
I
number
think?
3, I'm going to dial it way back. I'm going to go for a more, like I said, thought-provoking, nuanced kill. We're going to have the weight of what it means in this scene, if Matt wants to fire it up. And it is from 2009, a director who has done zombie films. This is not one of his zombie films. And it's Dr. Manhattan's murder of Rorschach from Watchmen. So in this scene, they uncover Adrian Veidt's plan, and Adrian Veidt's plan differs from the book to the movie. The movie's using Dr. Manhattan against him, and it's to kill essentially half more of the world's population in an attack to bring world peace. It's almost a Thanos-style plan, well years before. And in this, Rorschach's like, I have to tell everyone. We have to tell everyone. We have to warn everyone. We have to bring Veidt down. And Dr. Manhattan there, who has exhibited no human emotion otherwise, realizes that Veidt is correct. Veidt's plan is going to bring world peace. And this is what needs to be done to end the nuclear arms race. So as he goes outside, they have a little bit of an exchange here. And they talk about why he has to do it versus why he can't let him. And what's really great about this too, and they have their history together on the Watchmen, and he says, what are you waiting for? And Manhattan exhibits a little bit of human emotion that he otherwise has lost the years he's been the superpowered being. And just with the flick of the wrist here, he brings an end to one of his closest friends at the time, if he can have friends. And that guttural yell is incredible by Patrick Wilson too. And then ultimately you see Rorschach's mask is its own iconic thing as well too, and the blood stain. And I'll finish on this. Some of Snyder's best. Snyder is incredible visually, and it makes kind of that Rorschach mask that Rorschach has had for the whole time. So again, for what it means, the thought of it, what it means to the story, visually, aesthetically, how it looks, and again, bringing that human emotion back to Dr. Manhattan, who has exhibited no human emotion. He left Earth to go live on Mars because he was so sick of humanity. But Veidt makes sense. The smartest man in the galaxy makes sense with this plan. Ultimately, it ties everything together for an incredible adaptation. And so my number 3 is Dr. Manhattan's murder of Rorschach.
I like that. That's nice.
Thank
Definitely
you.
one of my favorites.
Yeah, that scene is gripping.
Yeah, and like your Rorschach is he's unrelenting. Like he will not stand down. He'll not stand down.
And I think
he will
there's
never
that
stand down. And
respect
so
of
like
that.
yeah.
And it's exactly, and Rorschach's kind of like the street level and Manhattan's up here, but you get that respect and the character arc that Rorschach exhibits throughout from the beginning to the end. He's an anti-hero who's weird, and you get his backstory, and then at the end he's probably the most pure protagonist. As well as Manhattan's just kind of got his own thing going on all throughout the film. And then they reach a point too, and again there's that scene before too with Matthew Good as Veidt, and they're all kind of talking, and the cards are being laid out in kind of a supervillain way, but it's done so well in that. A lot of people don't like it. I think it works perfect. And again, yeah, it's that mutual respect. And like I said, the what are you waiting for, where Manhattan doesn't care about people, and he does feel something for Rorschach, is so incredible. So yeah, it's by far my number 3.
Nice.
It's great.
And there's nothing like blood on snow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like dead snow proof. There's nothing like blood on snow. All right.
Hey, moving on to, I don't think mine may be lighter, certainly from one of my favorite movies, and a movie we all enjoy, I'm sure. Mine is going to be from Return of the Jedi. Now
Okay.
Oh, that's right. Scott can't see what I'm about to play.
No, I can't, but I want to know.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's not Palpatine's death. It's not Vader's death. It's not Yoda's death. It is the scene on Jabba's skiff.
Oh, this is phenomenal.
Princess Leia grabs the chain and strangles him. She kills him using, the implement of her incarceration.
Yeah.
To free herself, essentially. And I found this clip on YouTube, and it cuts out all the lightsaber fighting and stuff. It's just her with that around his neck. Her knee is digging into his back. She wants him dead. She's very much like, I've lived under a fist of tyranny my entire life. I'm not taking it from you.
Well, I love that he's like a renowned crime lord, right? Who has like all these minions and like tons of people under his power, and he gets choked out by a half-naked woman who's attached.
Not
to
just
a chain.
any, a general.
Oh, but
No, I'm being serious.
Yes.
But he underestimates her. He puts her.
Yes.
In that
no, no
bikini.
doubt. But you know what I'm
Damn.
saying? Like it's this whole thing where he's like, he has all the power in the world, and he's like one of the pretty much the most powerful person on Tatooine.
Yep.
And gets taken out by basically a woman in a steel bikini,
a slave, right?
a slave in a steel bikini.
To him.
To him, yeah, of course.
You know what's so funny?
awesome.
I want to say, and we talked about Return of the Jedi. I spend so much time focusing on Luke, and certainly in those scenes, that you're right. As soon as you say it, my thoughts go to all the Luke stuff, and I'm like, oh, I hope you're not picking Boba Fett. But then when you pick that, I'm like, oh my
death.
god,
No, I'm giving that for number one.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
is so incredible in that scene, and it does stand for a lot. You're right. He has so many enemies, and the death comes at his own like arrogant fins flippers and not hand, but incredible choice.
Yeah,
It's one of my favorite scenes of the whole series of films, of course. And everybody in that scene is fighting. I mean, that was just like a supercut of Leia and Jabba, but of course Luke's got the lightsaber, he's taking people out. Han is doing his best, although he's blind. But one of the more important scenes or sequences in that is Salacious Crumb eating out eating out C-3PO's eye, right?
Sorry.
And it's one of my favorite scenes because even though he's losing that fight, 3PO is also fighting.
Yeah.
That's
Sure.
good.
So, is that
Did I say something funny?
next? Number 2, should we move on?
Okay.
Phenomenal
Number
choice.
2.
I love
Okay.
this list.
Great.
So I think mine are just getting sillier. So we'll just
All right.
get right to it here.
I like
Number
it.
2, we go from, Zombieland sort of a setup of a joke to now we go where the whole film that I'm going to choose is essentially a running gag. This was not a film that I expected to like at first when I heard the title and everything else, but then I saw it, and man, anytime I saw it on Netflix, I put it on, and that is 2010's Tucker and Dale.
Yes. Oh my
versus
gosh, I was so
Evil.
happy you put this on there. I was eyeing this up. And I didn't.
So let me just full screen this so
Oh,
it's
I've
a
never
little
seen
bit bigger.
this.
Now,
Oh.
I could have picked, before I hit play here, I could have picked really any scene because
Yes.
it's just packed full of kills. But the running gag to this film is really questionable if any of them are kills because they're essentially all accidents. But it's these college kids who come up to this cabin, or they're at this cabin, and they see these two sort of redneck characters, and they think that they're out to kill them because they all keep sort of falling into somewhat sort of traps that aren't really traps. And I'll just play this scene and you'll see what I mean. The sound doesn't really matter much. So he's going to take his revenge because he thinks this guy's killing his friends.
And then he's going this way.
Yeah.
Trying to
So
pull
he's
him out.
trying to-
He's trying to pull him out,
Yeah.
but they think that they put him in there.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
And it just
He's like, "Why did you do that?
Yeah.
Why do they keep doing this?"
yeah.
Oh my gosh!
So that scene just sums up the entire film because it's literally the kids think these two rednecks are out to kill them, and so they're trying to fight back, and every time they try to go kill one of the rednecks, they like duck or they do something silly, and then one of the kids dies, and the kids always see just the tail end of it. It's like
So they think that things.
it's like a weird Scooby-Doo kind of thing. I don't know,
Well,
but
it plays
Or
off all
Three's
the
Company, more Three's Company.
yeah,
with
sure.
this
yeah,
sort of
yeah.
stuff.
Three Stooges
and
or
it
whatever.
plays off of all the horror tropes,
Yeah.
right? You have all the horror tropes, and it looks like it has the whole setup.
Oh,
Like it's going to be like the cabin in the woods kind of horror movie, right?
Yeah.
And then it just plays all those tropes for pure comedy, and like start to finish, that movie is pure delight. Like it's so damn funny.
I can't not laugh at it, and obviously Tudyk is amazing in it. But that Tyler, is it Labine? I think it's Labine or Labine. He does a real good job as Dale as well. They just play the perfect sort of bumbling idiots, right? That they mean well, but nothing goes right, and it's just I just love that you don't really know what's gonna happen next. Like what's the next silly thing? Like a kid's gonna die, but how are they gonna accidentally?
It's almost like the comedy Final Destination, right? And it's like you know they're gonna die, they're gonna get killed off one by one, but like crazy ways. But like it's even crazier because it's gonna be something like completely random and accidental.
Yeah, and then I just love when Dale or Tucker see it, and like you said, you kind of were acting it out there, like, "Oh man!" and he's trying to save him.
And then they get mad at them. They're like, "Why do they keep killing themselves?" And then they're like, "I think they started a suicide act." These teens. I think the teens came out here to do some kind of a suicide pact.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's my number 2.
Gosh, I love that, man. You guys got to watch that movie. It is so damn funny.
It is a riot. Okay, Andrew, you're up.
You guys already saw what my next one's going to be. So my next one, I also saw when I was very young, and as I was watching it, I grew to love a certain character because he's pretty badass. He's kicking a lot of ass. He takes no shit from anybody. Definitely one of the coolest guys in the room, and still got to the point where everyone pretty much knew what was going to happen except for Sonny Corleone did not see this coming, even though we all saw it, and everyone that knew what was coming, including his own guys, but he was the last person to know this was coming. So now he for people that don't know what's going on, he is going across town to attack his brother-in-law because his brother-in-law beat up his sister again, and his brother-in-law set him up. And
now we live on a border city and go through toll booths pretty frequently, or have until recently. Has this scene scared you from ever doing that again?
No. So one of the things I was reading about this today was that on his person, James Caan had over 400 blood squibs. 400 squibs on him, and they shot hundreds of rounds into him. I love this right here, and then right here, the kick. Come on, guy! It wasn't bad enough that you had to shoot him like seven gazillion times.
Yeah. Tough
and
guy.
then you had to give him the little kick. Like
he wanted the credit for the kill. That's what that.
Yeah.
Finish him.
It's like I said, you see it coming, and like as a little kid, I was like basically screaming at the screen, like, "Sonny, no! What are you doing? Like you can't! You're gonna get killed!" Like everyone knew it was coming, and there's nothing you could do to stop it.
So why not no Fredo? Not no Fredo.
You're breaking my heart. Yeah. No, I mean that's an iconic death, but this is the old live by the sword, die by the sword, and like nobody lived that more than Sonny, right? Sonny's out there kicking a lot of ass and being a hothead and going crazy. And
same thing as Pesci and Goodfellas and Casino. There's no outcome for those guys. You can't piss in faces and fly that close to the sun, and burn that hot without crashing. There's it's just impossible in film and life. You see that a million times. Nobody can run at 150 miles an hour and not explode internally or get brought down.
Yeah.
So that one has already stuck with me as a memorable death, even as a little kid. Like I said, I saw it as a kid, and it always stuck with me. First of all, because it's brutal, but also just the whole implications behind it too. Obviously, that's what kind of brings Michael back into the mix. And it definitely stuck with me. And
did we
it's
say
one
what
that
movie?
Started it.
Did we say
I
what
said
movie?
Godfather.
Okay.
Oh no, maybe I didn't.
I don't know if you did.
I don't think you did, but I've already done that tonight,
know,
so I'm like, I can't keep doing that.
That is The Godfather.
1972.
1972, directed by Francis Ford Coppola.
There's a book.
Mario Puzo. All right, so that was my number 2. I like that scene, and I don't like that scene, and
I
don't
like
like that scene. I like that scene and don't like that scene because I hate seeing Sonny get killed. It sucks.
I'm gonna go across the border a lot differently when I'm allowed to again.
Just watch out for if the toll booth guy ducks, like drop down. That's the sign. Yeah. So what if you if you're doing that, if you're like going across the toll booth and like the guy legit like drops something,
Drops his pen.
you're like, oh crap! You think it's going on? Like, no! The guy's like, what? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. Scott,
You got Scott.
Okay, my
If
number
you'll
2,
allow me.
AB. I could kiss you on your beautiful mouth. Michael had another brother.
Oh.
Don't ever
Oh
take
my
sides against the
gosh.
family, Fredo.
Wow.
My number 2, 1974's Godfather 2, Michael Corleone's other brother. This time, Michael's responsible for it. Fredo takes sides against the family, informing his rival, Hyman Roth, some intel, some private information that allowed where they knew where Michael's family was. What a scene. What a shot. They went on the hit on Michaels. Michael knew that his brother Fredo was not fun, lovable, dopey Fredo as he was in number 1, bumbling. He's a liability and a danger to this family. So when Fredo went out with, I believe his name's Ari, it's Michael's hitman. Michael executes the hit against his own baby brother, or his older brother, Fredo. Fredo's older. That's the thing. And Fredo says, I'm your older brother. I should be taking care of you. Michael is responsible for his death. There is not a more weighted death in film than I think than the death of Fredo Corleone, as
Absolutely
ordered by his own brother. Like we said too, here's the thing, and it's a perfect juxtaposition, and we can talk about this. Sonny Corleone, we just spoke about how he flew and he was the victim of his own hubris and actions, whereas Fredo only wanted to fit in, but he was always behind everybody else, all his other brothers. Tom, the adopted brother, was closer to his own father than he was. You see the stuff from Godfather 1. He can't get the gun out to save his dad.
Yep.
Right? It's
pretty
all compounding.
Yeah.
It's all compounding to Godfather 2 when Michael, again, is just like, this man gave intel to not only my enemy, but it led to a hit being against my life and my family. There's the only way I can keep myself, this family safe, is he's got to go. And again, that shot of Pacino looking out the window, if we ever do a list of best screenshots from a film, it's going to be high. So again, my number 2, we're keeping it in the Corleone family.
Man,
my number
fantastic.
2 is
Perfect.
the death of Fredo Corleone from Godfather 2.
For the record, we did not talk about this beforehand.
It was my 4 for a while, and I'm just like, no, this is the best movie death in history. This has got to be my personal number 2, man.
What Corleone does Matt have?
Don, he
Don,
just falls over in the vineyard. I love that. I love just watching him fall over from a heart attack.
Good.
It's not a kill.
He killed himself. He had too many.
It creeped me out. I saw that movie, I think, when I was like 12, and it was a little bit too. But then the kid has the little, and I was like, "What is the kid?" I never understood that. It always freaked the shit out of me, those things, because I was like, "He's dead, and he's still like spraying him." It's so wild. But yes, Sonny, Fredo, R.I.P.
Luca Brasi? Are you gonna have Luca Brasi on there?
Well, no.
Had the thing with the fishes.
The Jabba the Hutt scene was based on the Luca Brasi being killed.
Yeah, that's right.
Did you do Godfather's rewatchable, AB?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, it's so goddamn good. We're gonna make him a big star. So good.
But no, I'll tell you my favorite death in the Godfather trilogy is at the end of Godfather 3 when Connie offers up the cannolis to her godfather, played by Eli Wallach. He eats them and he's poisoned. He's sitting in his theater box and he just slumps down.
Oh yeah,
Connie is a badass in
She's
Godfather
unbelievable
Part
in
3.
3. Talia Shire is unbelievable. She's the best part of 3.
And not only does she perform that, she performs a hit, but she also orders another hit in order to, she orders Sonny's illegitimate son to kill Joe Mantegna. So don't sleep on Godfather 3 as far as film
director's
deaths
cut coming out Christmas.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But there's one. We'll talk Godfather 3. I always thought when I was a kid, the coolest scene. It's not going to make my list. But when Andy Garcia's like sleeping with the reporter, and the guys break in, and he's like, "Who do you work for?" And he's like, "Fuck you, man. I'm not going to tell you." And he pulls his hair back and blows his brains out, and there's blood all over him and his wall. He's like, "So who do you work for?" And the guy's like freaking out. I'm like, that's a cool kill. Not cool enough to make my list, but there is a good kill in Godfather 3 too. There's 2.
Stay tuned next week for our Godfather trilogy podcast.
Don't need to. We don't need to. It's right
That'd be
here.
amazing. Let's go.
My number 2 will fit in the category of humorous for sure. It's from a James Bond movie, Live and Let Die.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
Earlier in this scene, James has been captured and his equipment is laid out on a table. Kananga here is asking him about one of his gadgets, and James Bond tells him, well, it's a shark gun. It's a small canister of compressed gas that'll explode once it reaches its target. Kananga then tests this thing on a couch and it blows up. They get into this fight later in the movie. James Bond has gets his hands on one of those cartridges, opens the pin, stuffs it into Kananga's mouth, and obviously we're watching him goes underwater. What happens next is ridiculous and reaches the top of the ceiling and explodes.
That's right. That's been forever. That's insane.
And no death in a James Bond movie can end without one of his memorable quips.
Where's Kananga?
Well, he always did have an inflated opinion of himself.
James Bond movies invented the action genre. What are you whomping? We just saw Arnold do the exact same thing.
Way better than Roger Moore.
But the Kananga balloon has been, on the list of one of the most ridiculous things to happen in a James Bond movie. And it goes on my list number 2 because it is one of the best kills in James Bond's film career.
Cool. I'm glad I'll tag in. I'm glad a Bond made the list because at the last minute I was like, shoot, I kind of wanted to put the GoldenEye Alec Trevelyan murder for England, James. No, for me, I love that.
Yeah,
so
that's a good one.
There are some good ones in James. There's some really, really, really. I bet you could, if we.
I'm invincible.
We could rifle off like 10 solid kills and stuff through. So that's fantastic. That's a fun one. So that's what the more Bonds are. So that makes sense.
Oh, Mike, you're gonna
number 1.
Beginning of the end here. The final countdown. Number 1.
Yeah. So essentially, I mean, this is the one that everyone jokes about when they say best kill or death or whatever in a movie. And this is what first popped to mind. I think even Andrew joked about it, probably threw up a GIF or something on our chat when we came up with this topic. And I'm talking about the original, the 1992 Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I knew it.
There's no way this was not making my list.
Times when you just feel less than fresh.
And just so many reasons. So many reasons. I mean, he's throwing some jokes in there, but it doesn't really matter. Paul Rubens, first of all.
Yeah.
That's Paul Rubens?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Oh, shit.
I can do anything. Can you clap?
Does he have one arm?
He's got one arm that she tore off earlier, the other one. And that's Rutger Hauer. Yeah.
R.I.P.
And so the cast alone in this, when you look at in the movie, you've got Hilary Swank I forgot is in this film. Ben Affleck makes an appearance in this film.
Stop.
Yeah.
Yep. Luke Perry obviously is a big part of this film, basically playing Dylan from Beverly Hills 90210. And but the fact that this is Paul Rubens, sort of at the height of his controversy, and this death. Just keeps going.
That's good.
And then my favorite thing about that too is it's actually got an end scene too. If you watch the credits, they're all on the news and everything. And then just towards the end, he gets up again and does it a couple more times.
Does he die? I was about to ask that.
Well,
Yeah.
He does that throughout the credits.
Yeah,
and
I assume so. I assume so because in the long run too, like big boss guy there dies, and if you follow sort of the mythology of the head vampire going, the others go. But
true.
That film in of itself, I never really got into the show Buffy, but that film was like my go-to rental movie. It was like right at the time where I was like, okay, this is horror enough to creep me out a little bit, but it's silly enough that I can enjoy it and realize that it's not real, and just that scene stuck with me. And that was one I would, me and my friends would reenact at school, you know what I mean? And we'd laugh about. So it's just silly, but it's the one that popped right in my mind. So, and of course, Pee Wee Herman. So there you go, my number one.
I 100% knew that was going to be your number one.
Come on.
I mean, it's obvious. It's pretty obvious.
And and sorry, before I jump off this, we have to make mention in that Buffy, Donald Sutherland playing a badass.
I forgot.
Badass
awesome.
Merrick, right? He's the
so
trainer, if you will. There's probably an official name there I'm forgetting, but who sort of shows her what her destiny is to be a slayer. And man, that guy can just own the screen. He comes on and he talks. Doesn't matter what movie he's in. He talks, and I'm just like, oh, yep, this is real. This is happening.
I will let you have a sneak peek. We will be talking about a Donald Sutherland movie in the future.
Fantastic.
And I can't wait to talk about Donald Sutherland.
But I have to say,
awesome.
if you're gonna go watch this, take note of the first time he does meet Buffy. And he sort of explains the situation and how creepy the scene is as like a grown-up watching it. He's approaching this teenage cheerleader girl and explaining to her all about this. It's just, you watch it and you go, oh, where are the police? Arrest this creep.
Don't find things that don't hold up.
Yeah.
What age is
the girl's locker room?
At one point, and then the things he keeps saying in the gym, and they do make light of it. So like she's like they're aware of how creepy it sounds, but it's still you go like, oh. But anyways, there you go. So Andrew, what you got?
All right, now my number one. Do you guys have any guesses what it's going to be?
I know.
All right, don't bother guessing. My number one is a humongous, iconic death. And when it happened in the theaters in 1979, people freaked out and people lost their minds. Whoa! We lost Mike. We're gonna wait for him.
He's exploiting this movie deaths.
He finished his list. And he's like, I'm out of here.
He's like, no, I'm going to put them all to shame and kill myself.
So we'll just talk a little about it. I'll like talk a little bit about it beforehand. So in 1979, this movie came out, and people could not handle it. They were running for the exits. They're here he's coming back in. Hey!
I see. Now. I see his plan was to reposition himself, and he wants another go.
He's got a 1B.
I got another Mac and Me clip, guys. Sorry.
Oh, no worries. Okay, like I said, and it came in 1979, directed by Ridley Scott.
Yeah,
and I'm talking about Alien. And ironically, when you played your clip, Matt, I was like, Yaphet Kotto. Like,
that's right.
Yeah. Like, here we go. We're about to see him.
Great hardcore band.
There he is.
Kananga himself.
So, one of the things I love about this, and when you hear about the stories about it, is that none of the cast knew what was going to happen. None of them were informed about what was going to happen. They kind of were given a loose kind of script of what was going to go down, but they didn't know any of the special effects. So, all the reactions, so the only people that knew were the crew, obviously, that were going to do the special effect. William Hurt, obviously, and Ridley Scott. So none of the other people involved knew what was going to happen. And so all the reactions from everyone, and I think when it comes up, I'll talk about it. But I've seen how they did it, and it's brilliant how they actually filmed it. If you get a chance to watch it kind of behind the scenes of how they film it, it's really cool.
I mean, it'd be crazy to be one of these actors and be like, okay,
Yeah, and not
what's
know
going to
what the
happen?
hell's going on.
Yeah. Oh man.
Get this guy some
So this right here, right
Pepto-Bismol.
there, Nancy Cartwright just got hit with blood in the face. That actually happened. That was a real reaction from her, getting sprayed in the face with blood.
Awesome.
I'm like, that is amazing. There we go, right there. Yeah, and all real reactions. I'm like, that is brilliant.
Yeah.
He's so sick.
He's twitching.
Again, that movie came out in 1979, so that is 41 years old. Still looks incredible and it goes back to what Mike was saying earlier about practical effects. 41 years old, still, you could put that in the theaters right now and it would still have a crazy effect on people. Obviously, we know about the scene, right? We know about all the stuff, but like if you put that in a new release, people would still find that crazy. It's still a crazy scene if you didn't know what was going to happen going in. And it's like I said, it's iconic for a reason. Like it's brilliant. The idea of this alien coming from the inside of you, and like again, you have no escape because it's already inside you. There's no way of stopping it because it's already done. The damage is already done, and just that whole idea is just disturbing to me, and it's always been disturbing. One of the reasons why I love the Alien franchise.
Well, dude, that whole like sort of parasite in your body and like slither and all those kinds of things where it can get in you and control you and you're done for once it's inside you is the creepiest.
And you're still alive and you're alive the entire time knowing that you're gonna die and there's nothing you can do to stop it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I was going to make a point. I was about to make a point about how it's similar to the situation the world is in now, because they go onto a planet. He's got the thing on his face, and it's Dallas, right? It's the name of the captain.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm scared.
Tom Skerritt. He brings him and Nancy Cartwright bring the body to the ship. They say, "Get us on the ship." Sigourney Weaver's like, "No, you guys got to be quarantined."
He can't break quarantine.
Can't break quarantine. We're not
wild.
On
That's funny.
Now the difference here is that Ash, the android, has orders. If there's signs of alien life, he has to bring it back to Earth or whatever that is.
But it doesn't matter because at the time, and she's right, she brings it up with Sigourney. She has command over the vehicle. So even though he has orders from the king, she has a direct command of the ship. So he is actually breaking orders because she's in command at that point.
Yeah. So nobody listened, and now all but one die.
Yeah, the one who wanted to listen, they should have listened to, is the one that survives and lives.
Exactly.
Boom.
Scott,
wear a mask. The whole thing. Wear a mask. Wear a mask, people. Stay quarantined.
Distance. So for mine, there's no question what my number one. So we just talked before you hit play. Let me set it up a bit. So I think in the history, in the lexicon of film, no death, murder has bigger weight than we talked about with Michael with Fredo. But for a personal level, for what's at stake and for what the two characters represent to each other, for my money, this was my locked and loaded number one murder. And it's not so much a murder as it is a mercy killing. But I'm going with a movie from 2007 starring my favorite actor in some of his finest work. And it's the murder mercy killing of his German Shepherd, Sam, in I Am Legend. And I'm going to ball in this scene. And this scene is so tough because right before this, there's the vampires, there's the undead, zombies, however they are. And Robert Neville's the last person that he knows of at this time with his only friend, his German Shepherd named Sam, which you find out is Samantha. And in this, she wards off a group of zombie dogs and zombies attacking, sacrifices herself, and gets infected. And in this, he tries to save her. He does everything he's against the clock to try and save his only friend, his only companion, the last line from his previous life, representing what he gives the dog to his daughter. And earlier in the film, he's bathing the dog and he's singing Three Little Birds by Bob Marley. And his daughter's name was Marley and all this. And as it's going, he starts to notice that the dog is exhibiting zombie tendencies. Now it's going to get fangs growing, dilated ripples and increased anger. So he knows that the only thing he has to do is sever his last little bit of humanity and kill the only friend he's been living with for about 5 years now. And it is, like I said, I will hold this as Will Smith's finest acting achievement. A lot of people sleep on it, but I think that this is some of Will Smith's best acting. Singing Three Little Birds, the shot of just his face and what he's going through, knowing that he had to kill his best friend who sacrificed herself to save him. That whole scene is heart-stopping, pulse-pounding, and ultimately, like, incredibly sad. Look at this. This is incredible stuff from Big Willie. So, again, my number one by far, just for what it represents. Again, the scene after this, he has a breakdown. He goes in the movie store. Watch that scene, the please talk to me, where he's finally hit his wit's end. And I think the movie's great. I think it makes some weird decisions in the third act, but leading up to this and then the next scene after that is some of Will's best stuff. So my number one by far, murder, for what it means to the story, is the mercy killing murder death of Samantha the German Shepherd from I Am Legend.
I should have put that Kevorkian movie on my...
Sure.
What's that? No. I don't know. Yeah, it's a powerful scene for sure. I don't know about I Am Legend being his best work. And
that's
no, film.
Not his best work. That's his best acting. I will say that in anything. That stretch of that and the please talk to me scene in the video store, I will hold a candle against any of Will's best acting. I think sometimes Pursuit of Happiness is good stuff. It's a little schmaltzy. Ali, his first Oscar nomination, the second that he has. Impressionist. I think some of his best acting from a guy who's seen everything he's done is in I Am Legend. He has some incredible bits in that film. I don't think it's his best film by all, but I think that scene with Sam and the next scene are some of his finest work. So again, going back for what it means in the story and that he has to kill his only friend, and the way he does it, singing the Bob Marley song, which means so much as it's been set up when he's bathing the dog. Incredible stuff, man. My number one.
Tearjerker.
Yeah.
Well, my number one, I guess we're going to close out the show with my number one. And I'm so glad we are, because this is number one on my list. And it probably would have made all of your lists as well. As soon as I play it, it's one of our favorite movies of all time.
I'm so excited now. Oh, man. I can't even guess what it is.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yay. Hooray. I actually thought about this one too.
And this was number one without any question. Obviously, we know the story. Indy is in charge of finding the Lost Ark of the Covenant. He does. He loses it to the hands of the Nazis. They go to an island and say, let's perform a ritual to see if the pieces of the Ten Commandments are actually in there.
Yeah.
And, well, they find something other than that for sure. We get, this nice swirling mist, which, clearly not practical effects added by computer. It's not CGI because it's still too early for that. We have images like this.
Oh, man.
And
terrifying.
it goes from beautiful to hideous.
Terrifying.
The wrath of God is going to strike down upon them.
Close those eyes.
Keep your eyes closed. That's right. I love this song too.
Amazing.
I've seen, we've probably all seen the making of. They're all wearing like flashlights on them, but that thing through the eyes is amazing.
Yeah.
And of course, the three epic deaths of the movie.
Yes.
Face melting. They had to add the flame for this part because it was too gruesome.
Yeah.
His hand blows up. And then, in the film, well, the movie doesn't end here, but the carnage and the touch of God or the voice of God or the wrath of God, whatever you want to call it, cleans up the mess. And
that's nice of God to do that.
Well, Indy couldn't do it. So
it's nice of God to put the cap back on. Cap back on the Covenant.
Yeah,
there.
he puts the toilet seat down.
Thanks God. And I also like that God also burned burned their ties, like their hand ties, so they're like free at the end. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, well, thanks for freeing us too. That's convenient.
Thanks for not
You're like-
looking.
I mean, obviously, like the whole thing that people talk about is that Indy didn't do anything and he didn't stop anything from happening the entire time, and like thing. But I say even further that if he hadn't got himself involved, they would have brought that to Hitler. Hitler would have opened it up,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that would have happened to Hitler. So Indy actually stopped Hitler from dying. So
Yep.
Indy, you screwed up.
That's
Indy
very
screwed
funny.
it up.
But
that
iconic.
does
That's
get mentioned.
great.
And he does do one thing. He saves at least one life in Karen Allen there in Marion Raver. He tells her to keep her eyes shut.
That's right.
That's
Effectively
important.
saving his child.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. What
Lang
child?
Williams.
I don't know what
So
that
there
is.
you go. So that's 2 strikes against him.
I don't. Yeah.
There you go. We got Shia because he kept his eyes closed.
Well, Indy, you screwed up. You screwed up, and you screwed up. Way to go.
Oh,
But I'll tell you what. I saw that movie when again in theater, and I remember I was just eating that up. That end scene scared the crap out of me, obviously. But like seeing that dude's face melt, blew my little mind, and I couldn't understand how it was even possible at that point, how that could even be a thing. And like I loved it, and I remember having the trading cards. And that was one of the trading cards. Those were my favorite ones. Was his face? It had like mid melt.
That would be really cool.
Faces of Death trading
man,
cards.
like it would. I remember clear as day. Like and going like buying the packs of cards and finding that one, and like the different ones with the the guy's faces melting. I'm like, oh, so cool, so cool.
Ooh,
Great choice.
Well,
great choice.
Cool.
that was an amazing show. I think we're gonna do the clip thing more often.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's fun.
I want to thank everybody for watching. Thank you guys for giving us your lists and showing us what these deaths mean to you. I'll remind everybody watching to check out the Mack Flash Patreon for exclusive trivias and such. Check out our movie trivia championship. This will be airing. This airs on Tuesday, so on Thursday, those ones there. We got a few episodes left before the big championship match. And support Mack Flash any other way you can. Like, share, subscribe this video. Subscribe to the channel. Watch the other videos on the channel. Get your Mack Flash merch at wearproud.ca. And follow the Mack Flash social medias, Instagram and Facebook. That's where you get all the information for more shows and trivia and things like that. Again, guys, this was so much fun. Next week will be our favorite movies we like to watch on Halloween.
Yes.
So we're going to continue the spooky, gruesome twosome.
Like
what?
Be like, oh baby, I can speak for me and Mike. This is our bread and butter. This is what a great time to be alive.
We're gonna make sure we start and end with AB. So thanks everybody. Catch us next time.
See ya.